Hi, this is Coffee Break with Jimmy. And today the president had his whole staff, this whole administration, the seventh time they had the administration together to actually with a meeting with all of them. All the secretaries were there. And I mean, the seventh time that the administration have met, and that's like the seventh time in 7 months. Now, I'm not too sure, because I've only seen it televised. This is like the second or third time that I've seen it televised. And they go around to every member of the administration. And this time they start off with Bobby Kennedy. Of course, President Trump, he talks about the things that he's done, in that's made the country better. The city of Washington, D.C., that's the biggest thing that he's doing right now. He brought in the National Guard. And, of course, there is no mayor of Washington, D.C. I mean, not mayor, but a governor, I should say. There is a mayor of Washington, D.C., but so there's no governor. So the one that really runs Washington, D.C. is the president. That's the seat of the United States, and it's not a state. So he's got the National Guard in there, and he's got to where, I guess, 12 days. They haven't had a single murder in 12 days, which is pretty much unprecedented. And I don't know that, I mean, that's, you can say that's a good thing. There's no murders. Nobody wants murders anyway, but I mean, this has been going on for a long time in Washington, the major cities, the blue cities, Washington, D.C., New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles. Things have been going on for a long time. And he's quelching it there in Washington, D.C., but he can't do anything about the other states because of their sovereignty, and they're run by the governors, and the governors say no to the National Guard. Well, then you can't bring in the National Guard. Any other state, I imagine, Florida had a problem. I think Ron DeSantis would allow the president to bring the National Guard there. But it's just the idea that, they had a cabinet meeting for the seventh time. He's only been in office for 7 months. They have it once a month. They have a cabinet meeting, or is it just? I don't know if it's once a month. Maybe it is. Maybe they've had a couple of them in 1 month. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. But 7 times they've met. I think that's pretty good. Let's keep everybody abreast of what's going on, and they talk about each other and how each other help one another out. They're all in this together. One secretary starts to talk to another one, like Pam Bondi talks about how all of them, because it got to her. She was the last one, I think, that spoke along, got to the vice president. He was next to her. But it went around, I would say, to President Trump's right side, and he started off with Bobby Kennedy. And he talked about, they talked about the fisheries, and I guess it was in other countries where there was some poison, and they were shipping the shrimp here to the United States and selling it to us. And when they detected it, of course, they got rid of the shrimp. But this is happening in other countries, and it has to do with something to do with the windmills that create energy, and that they say it costs them twice as much to create the windmills than the energy that it creates. Pretty much the same thing that's going on with solar power, and that's not really what it. The best power there is you got coal, you got the energy that creates, the electricity that coal creates. You got, fuel power. What they call what do they call that? The power from oil. Okay, this anyway. That's the main power we have. But anyhow, Bobby Kennedy talked about that and how they're watching for that, and doing some things about that, and because that's the health and human services there. But Donald Trump wanted to talk about autism, and I guess there's going to be he's planning on either next month or here real soon anyway. But I believe it's next month they're going to have something about autism and some of the causes that happens in autism, because at one time, like in the 1970s. It was 1 out of every 10,000 kids that ended up with autism. Now it's like 1 out of every 30, and 1 out of every 12 boys. That's an alarming rate of autism. and I don't exactly know what autism does, but I know it's not good for children, and it happens to them at a young age, and it probably has, and if I'm not mistaken, has something to do with their nutrition, and that has to be reversed. So that's what Bobby Kennedy and they're just working on that, and they'll have a report on it maybe next month, maybe next time they have a cabinet meeting. And then it just went on around the horn, and it just, they were talking about everything that everyone was doing. It got to Kristi Noem, and she was talking about maybe, oh, she's going to have something maybe next month, because they found those what they call burn bags, information that was supposed to have been lost or burned, and this had to do with Clapper, Comey, and Brennan when they went after Trump in 2016. And all that falsified information, which actually started with Obama. We talked about that a little bit, a little while ago. I talked about it on the podcast. There's just so many fraudulent things that are going on, and things. I mean, okay, you can talk about. I think I talked about was last time about Smith Month, the right to lie, the right to spread propaganda. And I think Obama's the one that opened the door on that in 2012. I think I told you about that. But, Obama went after Trump. He went after Trump. Obama did. And that's another thing that's unprecedented, that one president will go after another president, or try to keep another president, a duly elected president, from being in office. And so Tulsi Gabbard, until she has everything. And she's got to have the goods, okay? She's got to make sure everything's that she's going to present is going to be accurate, and it's going to be the facts. So I went around to everybody, it's just Zeldin spoke for a while, and the secretary on labor spoke for a while, and it said how from illegal aliens that were here, they were getting all the jobs during the Obama administration, all the new jobs that were coming out. It wasn't going to American citizens. It were going to illegals that were coming here across the border, unvetted. And a lot of them, I think Tulsi Gabbard also mentioned that 1.6 million people chose to go back to their country and then come back the proper way. And if, that's the thing is, if they go back on their own and then they try to come back in at the proper way to become a U.S. citizen, they can. But if they have to go back on their own. So 1.6 million people did that. So that saved, it was costing $7,000 or $9,000 a month per person. And so they were saving that. They've saved billions of dollars on that just alone. So the things that are going on in these 7 months, everything that the Trump administration is going, and then you still have the Democrats that are saying, no, you can't do this, you can't stop crime. I guess 1,200 or 1,600 in the last couple of weeks, weapons have been taken off the street just in Washington D.C. alone. That's illegal weapons, not just weapons, illegal weapons, okay? So if they did that to every major city and they stopped the crime, you got to help the police department. You got to help law enforcement. And Trump is a big law enforcement guy. And they're really pushing it that way. And it's, I don't know, I just can't say enough about the last 7 months, what President Trump is doing. And I can't think of a president that has done this much in such a short period of time. I can't think of a president that's done this much in a whole 4-year term, much less an 8-year term. Most of them do 1 or 2 things, and they boast about that. But Trump is doing everything that Biden screwed up on his presidency, which I don't think he knew a darn thing that was going on. I think Trump is getting all that changed around now. So anyway, that was the 7th meeting that the administration have had, for all the secretaries, and I think I can't think of one that Biden had. At least not one that was televised. If he had one, I think they everything was always behind closed doors with Biden. Nothing was out in the open. Nothing was like Trump. Everything is out there in the open for all of us to see. And because he believes in America first, and he's working on America first, always has been America first. The trades, the tariffs that he's charging other countries, that's bringing trillions of dollars to the U.S. I was thinking that this is going to take at least 2 or 3 terms anyway to get the deficit down. I don't know that Trump. He might be able to get the deficit down almost to where we got a balanced budget in 4 years because of the things that he's doing. No other president has done this before, and sometimes you wonder, where does the guy get the energy to do all this? I don't have that kind of energy, and I'm 15 years his junior, and he's getting it done, and he's getting it done on very little sleep every night, and he's got everybody clicking, everybody just one right after the other. That they're all the cabinet members were talking about everything and how one helped out the other. This one correlates and go alongs with this secretary and the things that they're doing and whatever department they're working on. But the main things that I thought about that was really good was Bobby Kennedy and talking about, and President Trump actually asked him about, he talked about the fisheries and everything, and the Department of Labor was talking about that also. President Trump asked him about the autism thing because that was something that really concerned him. And so Bobby Kennedy talked about that in length. And even though President Trump said, we have everyone else here to talk to, and you don't have much time, but I do want to hear about that. And so Bobby Kennedy gave him the lowdown on that. So it's just working. This administration is just working. And then you got the Democrats the naysayers, instead of just admitting that he's doing a good job, admitting that things are getting done, and then maybe, compliant. Okay, these blue cities like Chicago, New York, we don't need the president's help. Look at Los Angeles and in the cities that burnt down over there in Pacific Palisades and in Altadena. These are cities that a lot of homes burned down, and Gavin Newsom's not doing anything about it. Neither is Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. And all this stuff it's been 6 months anyway that since this stuff happened. Maybe it's been a little bit longer actually, but nothing's been done. People are waiting for their homes to get rebuilt, get the insurance companies to give them the go ahead to build. Then they got to there's so many other things they got to do instead of just getting it done. Said, well, this is going to take 2 months or 3 months to get the permits. Well, no, Trump says, I need the permits in 2 days. We need the permits in 2 days to get these people's homes, everyone's homes, rebuilt. And I don't even know if the insurance company is going to cover that. But this is what's happening in the big cities. It's not happening in Central America, the middle part, the flyover states, if you will. This is happening in the big cities along the coastline. And then the governors of those states, like in California, Governor Newsom is about the worst. I think he's probably the worst governor we've ever had, or the worst governor that's ever been, as far as I'm concerned. And but it's also happened in Chicago. It's happened in New York. And in New York, speaking of New York, that Zohan Mandami, are you really thinking, New York, please, are you really thinking about electing this guy? You can't elect him. You can't elect a socialist because it's the domino effect is going to happen from there. It's going to happen there. They'll get somebody running in Chicago. They'll get somebody running like that in Los Angeles. And then before you know it, this socialist agenda that's going on right now with this Zohan Mandami, it's just going to be a domino effect. Please, New York, don't be as stupid as California and elect this mayor like we've elected our governor and mayors of our major cities here in California. California, they say the fourth, fifth, sixth largest economy in the world, and we're going broke. Everybody's there's millions of people leaving the state of California, and not that many coming in. There's some coming in, I'm sure there is. But you talk about millions versus maybe thousands that are coming in, millions going out. And how do you leave the state of California? Well, I tell you how you leave the state of California. Higher food prices, higher gas prices, higher insurance prices, people losing their homes. Things are going on in California that shouldn't be happening. We should be the strongest state. Our economy is supposed to be the strongest economy in the United States anyway, of all the states. The fifth or fourth largest economy in the world, in the state of California. And we're in the tank. So please, New York, don't elect this guy. This Zohan Mandami is just going to send you guys down the road. You think you're in a tailspin now. You elect this guy, and it's like I said, it's going to be a domino effect across the country. Anyhow, I just hope the Democrats get smart. I think a lot of them are, because there's not more Republicans now than there ever been before. I think something like 4 million or 5 million have come across and to the Republican side. And so that's 4 or 5 million that they're losing on the Democratic side. So that's like a double whammy right there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But hopefully, President Trump is going to continue doing what he's doing. And he's going to make the United States a lot better. America first. Common sense. The common sense party. Okay? Anyhow, please subscribe. Press the like button. Hit the notification and let you know next time that I'm on. And thank you for listening to the podcast with Coffee Break with Jimmy. Thank you.